Tonight, let the world be smaller than it usually is. Let the day loosen its grip, like a coat sliding from your shoulders, like shoes left quietly by the door. Let the light in your room soften, even if it's only the light behind your eyelids. And if your thoughts are still moving, busy, bright, a little restless, there's nothing you need to fight. You don't have to win against your mind. You only have to listen. Because every night, in the deep hush between one breath and the next, there are things that keep scientists awake, not from fear, not from dread, but from a kind of gentle wonder that feels almost like gratitude. Mysteries that do not threaten, mysteries that simply shimmer. They drift through the dark fabric of the universe like small ripples of silver on a black lake. They appear and then fade, leaving behind a feeling rather than an answer, like waking from a beautiful dream and holding its warmth for a moment. Even if you can't explain the story, and you don't need to understand everything tonight, you can let curiosity be soft. You can let not knowing be restful. You can listen the way you listen to wind in trees, without needing to name every leaf. So imagine, just for now, that you are somewhere quiet, somewhere safe. Maybe you're near a window. Maybe you're in a room where the air is cool and still. Maybe you can sense the night outside, wide and patient, like an ocean made of shadow. And somewhere beyond your ceiling, beyond the roof, beyond the streets and the sleeping houses, the sky has opened again. Not with drama, not with shouting, but with the same calm it has always had, an ancient calm. Slow as geology, tender as moonlight. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Why Is That? Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. And while you're here, let me ask you something, just a small question you don't have to answer out loud. When was the last time you looked up at the night sky and felt at peace? Maybe it was years ago, on a porch, when summer insects hummed like tiny engines and the air smelled faintly of grass. Maybe it was on a winter evening, when the cold made everything crisp and the stars looked closer, like they had leaned in to listen. Or maybe it was recently, just a few nights ago, when you caught the moon between buildings, and for a moment your chest felt lighter. Hold that memory gently, if you have one. And if you don't, that's okay too. Tonight, we can borrow the sky together. In the world of science, there are instruments that watch the night the way a patient friend watches your face, quietly, steadily, without interruption. Telescopes, radio dishes, listening machines with wide, attentive mouths, turned upward as if they're waiting for a lullaby no one has sung yet. If you imagine the sky as a vast, dark lake, these instruments are like lanterns lowered to the surface, looking not for monsters, not for storms, but for glimmers, for patterns, for the gentle surprises that happen when you stare long enough into the quiet. And what they collect is not simply light, it is time, old time, time that traveled a very long way to reach you. Some of the starlight that touches our world tonight began its journey before there were cities, before there were stories written down, before human hands ever drew a map. It has been moving and moving and moving through cold emptiness, through drifting dust, through invisible currents of gravity, patient as a pilgrim. By the time it arrives, it isn't just a beam, it's a message, softened by distance, a postcard from the deep past. And when you think of it that way, the night feels a little more intimate, a little less empty, like the universe has been trying, in its slow and wordless way, to reach you. In laboratories and observatories, the people who study the cosmos often speak in careful phrases. They don't rush, they don't declare, they gather. they compare, they wait. Because the sky doesn't reveal itself quickly. It reveals itself the way dawn reveals a room, gradually, gently, without asking you to applaud. And yet, sometimes, even in the middle of that patient process, something unusual appears. Not loud, not terrifying, just different. A brief flicker that doesn't match the usual rhythms. A star that seems to inhale and exhale in an unfamiliar pattern. A ring of radio light so enormous it feels like a dream someone forgot they had. A quiet place in the universe that is quiet in a way you didn't expect. Tonight's story is about those gentle oddities, the kind that do not disturb your sleep, but instead soften your sense of control. The kind that remind you it's okay not to have every answer right now. Because maybe you don't need answers to rest. Maybe you only need a wider horizon. So let's begin where many peaceful journeys begin. With a window. Imagine a small observatory on a calm night. Nothing dramatic, no storm clouds, no rushing footsteps, just the slow turning of a dome, like a patient eye opening. Inside, the air smells faintly of metal and dust and old paper, the quiet scent of places devoted to watching. A scientist stands alone. Not lonely, just alone in the soothing way you might be alone when everyone else is asleep and you finally have the house to yourself. Their movements are careful and unhurried. A hand rests lightly on a railing. A screen glows softly, dimmed low, as if even the technology understands it is nighttime. Outside, the sky is scattered with stars. Some look sharp, like pinpricks. Some look softer, blurred slightly by distance or haze. And if you listen closely, you might hear the smallest sounds, the gentle whir of machinery, a distant insect, the hush of air moving through pine needles. The scientist does what many of us have done in a different way. They look up and feel something in their chest loosen, because the sky has a way of making our problems feel less heavy. Not by dismissing them, but by placing them gently into perspective, like setting a pebble down beside a mountain and realizing the pebble still matters. But it doesn't have to be carried so tightly. Now, on that screen, the data arrives as a kind of quiet rainfall. Signals, measurements, lines that rise and fall. Not quite music, not quite language, but something that can be listened to all the same. And then just for a moment there is a note in the darkness. A brief, clean sound that doesn't fit with the background. Not like an alarm, more like a bell heard from far away across water. A signal that appears and then disappears. A whisper that lasts only a little longer than a single slow breath. If you've ever been near a shoreline at night, you know how it feels when a wave suddenly catches the moonlight just right, bright for an instant, and then gone. The ocean keeps moving, indifferent and beautiful. But you remember that one shimmer. This is what it can feel like to witness something like the famous wow signal, an unexpected, fleeting radio note that once slipped through human instruments, leaving behind questions that were strangely gentle. Not questions like, are we in danger? But questions like, what else is out there, quietly singing? And even if the answer is simply nature, even if it is a rare and unusual cosmic event, there is still something comforting about the idea that the universe can surprise us with elegance, that it can make room for wonder, that it can offer a moment of mystery without asking us to panic. In the same way, there are stars that dim as if something passes in front of them, like a slow curtain drifting across a stage. The dimming is not violent, it is not a disaster, it is simply a change in brightness, subtle and puzzling. One of these stars, far away, has captivated people because its pattern feels almost like breathing, a gentle fading, a return, a pause. an irregular rhythm that makes you think of clouds crossing the moon, or of eyelids lowering when you're finally tired enough to sleep. Scientists have offered many possibilities: dust, debris, natural processes that unfold over long stretches of time. But what matters tonight isn't the debate. What matters is the feeling of watching something distant and realizing it doesn't have to be fully understood to be appreciated. Like watching a candle flame, you don't need to calculate the chemistry to feel soothed by the light. And somewhere else in the sky, there are vast rings, radio circles, so large they feel like echoes. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond and seeing ripples spread outward, outward, outward. Except these ripples are written across the heavens, faint and ancient, as if the universe once sighed and the sigh is still traveling. Then there are the grand arcs and soft curves, structures so immense they feel like brushstrokes on a cosmic canvas. And there are quiet regions, two spaces where fewer galaxies gather, where darkness seems deeper, not because it is frightening, but because it is spacious. A kind of cosmic pause, a resting place. And hearing about these places can do something gentle to your nervous system. It can remind you that emptiness is not always loss. Sometimes emptiness is simply room to breathe, room to release, room to rest. So if you'd like, let your shoulders drop a little, let your jaw unclench, let your tongue rest comfortably in your mouth, and take one slow breath in, not forced, not counted, just slow, and breathe out, as if you're letting go of something you've been carrying all day. Good. Tonight, you're not here to solve the sky. You're here to float through it, because in a little while, we'll begin a gentle journey across these quiet wonders, one by one, like stepping stones in a moonlit garden. We'll move slowly, the way your mind moves when it begins to soften. We'll let science be a lantern, not a lecture. And as we travel, you may notice something changing inside you, the same way you notice the room dimming when your eyes begin to close, the same way you notice your thoughts becoming less sharp around the edges. And before that happens, there is one more image I want to place in your hands, cool and steady, like a smooth stone from a river. Imagine the universe as a storyteller who never hurries, a storyteller who speaks in light and silence, in gentle curves, in whispers that take ages to arrive. And tonight, it has chosen to tell you a story made of small, beautiful unknowns. A story that begins with a signal that came and went, a star that blinked like a sleepy eye, and a ripple in the dark that looks, somehow, like a quiet invitation. And the invitation is simple. Come closer, slowly, safely, because there is something else, something soft and shimmering waiting a little deeper in the night. Something like a map, not a paper map, a sky map made of patterns that only appear when you stop rushing. And if you follow it gently, you may find yourself drifting into a calm so deep it feels like the universe itself is breathing with you. If you're still awake, that's perfectly fine. And if you've already begun to drift, if the edges of this story feel softer, blurrier, less urgent, then you're exactly where you need to be. The night never rushes you. It simply waits. So let us move gently, now, deeper into the setting of our story, where the universe reveals itself not as a spectacle, but as a quiet companion. Imagine the earth from far above, not from the sharp, glowing perspective of satellite images, but from a softer distance where cities are no longer grids of light, but faint clusters like embers resting in ash. From here, the planet looks calm, whole, unconcerned with schedules or notifications or unfinished thoughts. Clouds drift slowly, like pale brushstrokes across a dark blue canvas. The oceans breathe in long, patient swells, and wrapped around it all is the atmosphere, a thin, protective veil, shimmering faintly, catching sunlight by day and starlight by night. Beyond that veil, the sky opens, and it opens not like a door, but like a lake, still, deep, reflective. For as long as humans have existed, we have lifted our eyes into this darkness, long before numbers, long before instruments, long before explanations. There was simply the act of looking up, and that act alone was enough to quiet the mind. Tonight, you're part of that ancient habit. But now, alongside your imagination, there are also listening eyes scattered across the earth, high on mountains, deep in deserts, far from city lights. They do not sleep, they do not blink, they simply receive. Telescopes that drink in light, radio dishes that gather whispers. In the quiet hours of the night, these instruments turn upward, like flowers responding to a moon they cannot see. If you picture them, don't picture cold machines. Picture patience made visible. Picture curiosity with no urgency attached. Picture the way a cat watches a window at dusk, not tense, not demanding, just attentive. Because that is how the universe prefers to be observed. Slowly, softly, with respect. The light that arrives at these listening eyes has traveled through time in a way that feels almost personal. Each photon, each tiny packet of brightness, has been on a journey longer than any human story. Some have crossed empty regions, so vast they defy imagination. Some have skimmed past stars, bent gently by gravity, their paths curved like river reeds in a current. Some have passed through clouds of cosmic dust, grains smaller than smoke, floating in silence. By the time this light reaches Earth, it carries more than information. It carries memory, and memory, as you know, does not shout. Memory whispers. If you've ever found an old photograph and felt a quiet ache, not sadness exactly, not joy either, but something tender and deep, you already understand this feeling. The universe offers that same tenderness, not by explaining itself, but by showing you how much has happened without you needing to hurry. Now imagine one of these listening places, a radio observatory, resting under a sky so dark it feels almost velvety. The stars above are steady, unblinking, as if they've agreed to keep watch together. The dish is wide and curved, like an open palm. It listens. Most of what it hears is familiar. A background hum, a gentle cosmic static that fills the universe the way silence fills a quiet room. This background is not empty. It is alive with countless distant sources, all blending into a soft, constant presence. Scientists sometimes call it noise, but noise is not the same as chaos. Noise can be comforting, like rain on a roof, like wind in a forest, like the low murmur of a city heard from far away, when you know you are safe and warm inside. And then, every so often, something shifts, just slightly. A pattern emerges, not dramatic, not alarming, just different enough to be noticed. This is how many cosmic curiosities begin, not with certainty, but with a raised eyebrow, with a quiet pause, with someone leaning closer to the data, not out of fear, but out of affection, as if the universe has tapped lightly on the glass. There is a particular beauty in the way science treats these moments. It does not panic. It does not jump to conclusions. It says, gently, let's see if it happens again. And if it doesn't, if the signal fades, if the star returns to normal, if the ripple dissolves back into the background, science does not feel disappointed. It feels intrigued, because not everything is meant to repeat. Some things are meant to pass through once, like shooting stars, like chance meetings, like a single perfect evening that never quite happens the same way again. And perhaps that's why these fleeting mysteries feel so calming. They remind us that permanence is not required for meaning. One of the most soothing ideas in astronomy is the idea of scale, not the overwhelming kind, the kind that makes you feel small in a frightening way, but the comforting kind, the kind that reminds you your worries are not the center of everything. When you consider distances measured in light years, not as numbers, but as time, you begin to feel something loosen inside you. A light year is not just space, it is patience. It is the distance light travels while years unfold on Earth, while people are born, grow older, fall in love, say goodbye, and rest. So when a signal reaches us from far away, it is not arriving now. It is arriving late, and there is something profoundly soothing about that delay. It means the universe is never in a hurry. It means things can take their time. It means you can too. Now let's return, gently, to the image of the night sky as a lake. Still water, dark surface, stars like reflections that tremble only when the wind passes. On this lake, there are ripples not from stones thrown in haste, but from slow, distant events. A star shedding a veil of dust, a quiet interaction between vast clouds of matter, a subtle bending of space itself. These ripples are not violent, they are graceful, and when we detect them, it is like noticing a pattern in water you've been staring at for a long time. You weren't looking for it, you weren't forcing it, it simply appeared when you were calm enough to see. In the sky, these patterns sometimes take the shape of immense arcs, curves so large they feel almost architectural, as if the universe once traced a circle and forgot to erase it. Sometimes they take the shape of rings, faint, ghostly outlines that suggest an event long past, now softened into beauty. Sometimes they take the shape of absence, a region where there is less than expected, where silence gathers not because something is wrong, but because space has chosen to rest. And just as silence in music gives meaning to sound, these cosmic quiet places give meaning to everything else. If you listen closely to your own breathing right now, you may notice something similar. The pause between inhale and exhale, the moment of stillness before the next breath begins. That pause is not empty. It is essential. The universe understands this instinctively. It builds pauses into its design. There is a reason stories about the sky have always been told at night. Darkness softens details. It smooths edges. It invites contemplation without demanding focus. When you look at the stars, your eyes don't try to measure them precisely. They wander, they drift, they rest. And the stories we tell about the universe, especially the gentle ones, are meant to do the same thing. Not sharpen your mind, but soothe it. Not activate, but allow. So as we sit here together, beneath an imagined sky that stretches far beyond this moment, let yourself stop trying to hold on to every sentence. It's okay if some words slip past you. It's okay if images blend. It's okay if thoughts slow down and become more like feelings. That is not losing the story. That is becoming part of it. In the next part of our journey, we'll begin to move slowly through some of these quiet wonders. Not as tourists, not as investigators, but as gentle travelers. We'll float past signals that came and went, stars that breathe softly, and structures so large they remind us how small urgency really is. And as we go, you may notice that your body feels heavier in a good way, that your mind feels wider but calmer, that sleep is no longer something you're chasing, but something that's beginning to find you. So stay here, stay soft. The night is listening too. Somewhere between wakefulness and sleep, the mind becomes more generous. It stops insisting on clarity. It stops asking for conclusions. It begins to accept moments simply as they are passing, imperfect and quietly complete. This is the same state in which the universe often reveals its gentlest stories. Imagine again that wide, listening dish under the night sky. It has been there for years, through clear evenings and clouded ones, through seasons that turned leaves red and then bare, through summers heavy with heat and winters that stilled the ground. It has listened through human celebrations and human worries, through years when the world felt loud and years when it felt fragile. Most nights are the same, a steady background hum, a soft, cosmic hush that never quite reaches silence. And then, one night, without warning, without ceremony, something drifts through. Not a shout, not a command, just a brief, narrow tone, clean, focused, lasting no longer than a slow breath. 72 seconds. If you've ever paused at a window and noticed how long a minute truly is, you know how brief that feels. Long enough to notice, too short to hold. The signal arrives, and then it leaves. No repeat, no echo, just a quiet absence where it once was. For the scientists listening, the moment feels strange, not because it is frightening, but because it is beautiful in its restraint. The universe did not linger, it did not explain itself. It offered a single note and moved on. Like a bird call heard at dusk, when you're not sure where it came from or whether you'll ever hear it again. Later, people would name this moment, but naming is something we do after the fact. In the moment itself, there was only listening, and a sense that something gentle had brushed past the edge of human awareness. What's comforting about this story is not the speculation that followed, it's the humility it inspires. Because despite all our tools, all our knowledge, all our careful watching, we do not own the sky. We do not command it. We simply receive what it chooses to share. And sometimes what it shares is fleeting, just enough to remind us that there is more. As you rest here, listening, you may notice how similar this feels to certain memories, moments that arrived without warning. A conversation that stayed with you long after it ended. A look someone gave you once, full of meaning, gone in an instant. A song drifting from another room, half heard, already fading. These moments don't demand analysis. They ask for presence. And once they pass, they leave behind something quieter than certainty. They leave behind resonance. In the vastness of space, signals like this are not unusual in principle. The universe is full of motion, full of interactions, full of slow dances between energy and matter. Most of it blends together into patterns we recognize. But every so often, something slips through that does not fit neatly into expectation. And when it does, the response is not fear, it is patience. The scientists who noticed that brief signal did not rush to rewrite reality. They waited. They listened again. They let the night continue. Because in science, much like in life, one moment does not define the whole story. Sometimes it is simply a chapter heading. Now, let your attention drift from that listening dish to a distant star. Not one you can name. Not one that has a place in mythology. Just a point of light, steady and calm. This star shines in a way that seems ordinary until you watch it long enough. And then you notice something subtle. Its light dims, not suddenly, not dramatically, just a soft fading, like someone lowering their voice, like a candle flickering when a door opens down the hall. Then, after a time, the light returns. Not exactly the same, not exactly predictable, but present. This gentle irregularity has drawn quiet curiosity, not because it suggests danger, but because it feels intimate, as if the star is not performing for us, but simply existing according to its own rhythm. and watching it is like watching someone sleep, breathing, pausing, turning slightly. You don't interrupt. You don't demand explanation. You simply observe with care. There is a lesson hidden in this kind of observation. It teaches us how to be with uncertainty without anxiety, how to let patterns unfold without forcing them, how to trust that not everything needs immediate resolution. If you've been carrying questions lately about your life, your work, your relationships, this is a good moment to let them rest. The universe does not hurry its answers, and you don't have to either. Now let's move farther out, beyond individual stars, beyond familiar constellations, out into regions where structures are so large they feel abstract. Here, the universe draws in curves and rings vast shapes that span unimaginable distances, yet appear soft and ghostly, like chalk marks half erased. These shapes are not loud announcements. They are echoes, the lingering outlines of events that happened long ago, their energy spreading outward, thinning, calming, becoming something more like memory than motion. When astronomers detect these immense radio circles, they do not see them with eyes alone. They sense them. They piece them together gently, like assembling a puzzle without a picture on the box. And when the shape finally emerges, it feels less like discovery and more like recognition, as if the universe has been drawing quietly all along, and someone has finally noticed the pattern. If you imagine these rings as ripples on a cosmic lake, it becomes easier to understand their softness. Someone or something touched the surface long ago. The water responded, and now the ripples are still spreading, not urgently, not forcefully, just faithfully. And in that image, there is a kind of comfort. It suggests that actions do not vanish. They transform, they widen, they fade into gentler forms. The same is true of your own experiences. Nothing you have felt is wasted, even the moments that hurt, especially the moments that were quiet. As we drift even farther, we come to places where there seems to be less, fewer galaxies, fewer stars, wide expanses that feel open in a way that is almost peaceful. These cosmic voids are not mistakes. They are not failures of creation. They are pauses, breathing spaces in the grand structure of the universe. And just as your body needs rest between movements, the universe seems to need rest between gatherings. When scientists first noticed these vast, quiet regions, there was a moment of surprise. Expectation met absence. But over time, that absence became something else. It became balance, because without space, there is no structure. Without silence, there is no music. Without rest, there is no continuation. Let this idea settle into you. That emptiness is not something to fear. That pauses are not something to fill. That silence can be a form of care. If your mind feels a little emptier right now, that's not a problem. That's an invitation. Somewhere else in the sky, there is a faint chill, a region where ancient light appears slightly cooler than expected. A soft anomaly, not sharp enough to disturb, just different enough to be noticed. It is like stepping into a shaded area on a warm day, not alarming, just surprising. And once again, the response is not alarm, but curiosity wrapped in calm, because the universe, it seems, delights in being a little asymmetrical, a little unfinished, a little open-ended. As you listen to these stories, you might notice your thoughts beginning to wander. That's not distraction. That's your mind entering the same rhythm as the cosmos, slow, associative, free. If images rise and fall, let them. If memories drift in, greet them gently. And if nothing comes at all, enjoy that too. You are not required to hold on to this story. you are allowed to float. What ties all these gentle mysteries together is not their strangeness, it is their kindness. None of them demand belief. None of them insist on urgency. They simply exist as reminders that the universe is larger than our schedules, softer than our fears, and more patient than our doubts. And in that patience, there is room for rest. Soon, we will begin to reflect more deeply on what this vast calm can offer us, not as information, but as comfort. We'll explore how these cosmic rhythms mirror the rhythms within you, and how understanding that connection can feel like coming home. But for now, stay here, in this wide, listening moment, where signals pass like breaths, where stars blink like tired eyes, and where nothing, absolutely nothing, is asking you to hurry. There is a particular kind of silence that only appears at night. It is not the silence of emptiness, and not the silence of absence. It is a full silence, a silence layered with distant sounds, with breath, with memory. The kind of silence that arrives when the world has finally decided to stop explaining itself. This is the silence the universe knows well. And tonight, it offers that silence to you. As your body settles more deeply into rest, let your imagination drift outward again, past the edges of your room, past the quiet structures of your city or town, past the slow curve of the earth itself. Beyond the thin, protective veil of atmosphere, space opens into something vast and unhurried. Here, there are places where almost nothing happens, not because something is missing, but because stillness itself has value. Scientists sometimes speak of these regions as voids, great stretches of space where galaxies are fewer, where light travels longer without interruption. The word void might sound unsettling, but in truth, these regions are among the most peaceful structures in the universe. They are not holes, they are rests. Like the pause between two lines of poetry, like the quiet space between heartbeats. Imagine drifting through one of these cosmic quiet zones. There is no sound here, not because something is wrong, but because sound has no medium to carry it. Instead, there is a sensation of openness, a gentle awareness that nothing presses in on you. Light passes through slowly. Gravity's touch is faint. Time itself feels less insistent. In such a place, urgency would feel out of place. And as you float there, you might begin to understand something important, that the universe does not measure worth by density. It does not judge fullness as better than emptiness. It allows both. If you've ever felt the relief of an empty calendar day, you know this feeling. A day with nowhere to be, nothing required, no one waiting. At first, it can feel strange, almost uncomfortable. But then, slowly, something shifts. Your breathing deepens, your thoughts spread out. You begin to remember who you are when nothing is expected of you. The universe offers that same relief on a scale beyond imagination. Long ago, when astronomers first began to map the large structures of the cosmos, they expected uniformity. They imagined matter spread evenly, like mist. But what they found was something more like lace, clusters, filaments, and in between them, wide, open spaces. This discovery did not break the universe, it softened it. It revealed a design that included room for expansion, room for rest, room for gentle transitions. And when you think about it, your own life is shaped the same way. Moments of connection, moments of intensity, and then moments where nothing much happens at all. Those moments are not mistakes. They are where integration occurs. Now, let your attention move even more slowly, so slowly that it feels like drifting. In this quiet state, the universe shows another side of itself, not only through absence, but through subtle variations. There are places in the sky where ancient light appears just a little different, slightly cooler, slightly softer, not enough to disrupt the whole picture, just enough to add texture. These variations are gentle reminders that perfection is not uniform, that balance does not mean sameness, that calm can include difference. Imagine walking through a familiar landscape at dusk. You know the path, you've walked it many times, but as the light fades, small details change. Shadows lengthen, colors mute, the air cools. Nothing is wrong, everything is simply transitioning. The universe is always in transition too, even when it looks still. One of the most comforting truths in astronomy is that nothing appears all at once. Even the largest structures form slowly, quietly, over stretches of time so vast they soften the idea of beginnings and endings. When galaxies gather, they do not rush toward each other. They drift. They respond to gravity the way leaves respond to a gentle current drawn together, not forced. And in the spaces between them, the universe breathes out. As you listen, your own breath may begin to mirror this rhythm. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause again. If you notice this happening, let it continue naturally. There is no need to control it. The body knows how to rest when given permission. There is something deeply reassuring about knowing that the universe does not rush to fill every gap, that it allows space to exist without apology. In a world that often equates busyness with value, this cosmic patience feels like a quiet kindness. It tells you that you are allowed to stop, that you are allowed to be unfinished, that you are allowed to rest without explanation. Now, imagine looking back at Earth from this wide, quiet vantage point. The planet is small, blue, wrapped in cloud and light. From here, all the noise of human life blends into something softer. Borders disappear, conflicts blur. What remains is motion, breath, cycles, day turning into night, night turning into day. Again and again, the earth does not rush its rotation. It does not hurry its seasons. It simply turns. In the same way, the universe does not hurry its revelations. Some mysteries appear briefly and vanish. Some linger for generations. Some remain unsolved, not because they are threatening, but because they are still unfolding. And this, too, is comforting, because it means not knowing is not a failure. It is a state of being, a quiet, open state. Like this one, if you find your thoughts drifting now to memories, to images, to nothing at all, let them. The night does not require focus. It invites surrender. There is a softness that comes when the mind stops reaching forward and begins to sink gently inward. You may feel heavier, or lighter, or simply still. All of these are signs that rest is approaching. Somewhere far beyond human sight, galaxies continue their slow dance. Rings expand, arcs curve, light cools, space opens, and through it all, the universe remains untroubled by our need for certainty. It offers beauty without instruction, meaning without urgency, presence without demand. In the next part of our journey, we will begin to explore what this vast calm reflects back to us, how these cosmic rhythms echo the inner rhythms of memory, time, and healing. But for now, remain here, in the wide quiet, where the sky chooses to be gentle, where emptiness is not lonely, where silence is full, and where sleep is no longer something you have to seek, but something that is slowly, kindly finding you. There is a moment just before sleep, when time loosens its shape. Minutes no longer feel like minutes. Thoughts stop lining up in orderly rows and instead begin to drift, overlapping, circling, returning in gentler forms. In this space, memory behaves differently. It is no longer something you access. It is something you enter. And the universe, it turns out, remembers in much the same way. Far beyond the quiet regions we've just passed through, beyond the open spaces where galaxies thin out and silence feels wide, light continues its patient journey. Light is the universe's memory. Every beam carries with it the story of where it came from, not as words, not as explanation, but as presence. A star does not announce its history, it simply shines, and in doing so, offers its past to anyone willing to receive it. When astronomers look deep into the night sky, they are not seeing things as they are now. They are seeing things as they were, and there is something profoundly gentle about that. The universe does not insist on the present moment. It allows the past to arrive slowly, softly, when it is ready. Imagine a single particle of light leaving the surface of a star. It begins its journey without knowing its destination. There is no map, no urgency. It travels through space the way a leaf travels down a river, guided by currents it cannot see, shaped by forces it does not understand. Along the way, it may pass through regions of cold darkness. It may brush against clouds of dust so fine they feel more like breath than matter. It may curve gently, guided by gravity, its path bending in a way that feels almost intentional. And all the while, it continues, not because it is trying to reach you, but because motion is its nature. By the time that light reaches Earth, by the time it slips into a telescope or touches your eye, it has become something else. It has become a messenger, not a message with instructions or demands, just a quiet arrival, a presence that says, I have been traveling a very long time. If you've ever received a letter long after it was written, you know the feeling. The words are old, the emotions are preserved, and yet, when you read them, they feel immediate, personal. Light works the same way. It bridges time without rushing it. As you rest here, consider how many moments in your own life have taken time to reach you emotionally. Things that happened years ago, perhaps, but only now make sense. Feelings that once felt sharp, now softened. Memories that used to ache, now warm. This is not delay. This is integration. And the universe seems to understand that integration cannot be hurried. There is a particular kind of light that fills all of space, a faint glow that remains from the universe's earliest moments. It is not bright. It does not shine like stars. It is more like an afterglow, a residual warmth, a memory of beginnings that has cooled over time. This light is everywhere. It surrounds you even now. And while you cannot see it with your eyes, you are part of it. Because everything you are made of, every atom, every breath, emerged from the same long unfolding. You are not separate from the universe's memory. You are one of its expressions. This realization can feel overwhelming when approached with urgency. But tonight, it is offered gently, like a blanket, like a reassurance. You do not have to carry the weight of meaning. You only have to rest within it. Think of how memories behave when you are tired. They stop organizing themselves into neat narratives. Instead, they appear as images, sensations, fragments, a sound, a color, a feeling in your chest. The universe remembers in fragments too. It does not preserve everything in perfect detail. It leaves traces, hints, soft impressions. And when scientists piece these together, they do not do so with force. They do so with patience, with humility, with the understanding that some things reveal themselves only when you stop demanding clarity. Now imagine drifting alongside a beam of ancient light, not racing, not falling, just moving. There is no wind here, no resistance, only the quiet companionship of distance. As you travel, you pass regions where stars are born, dense clouds slowly collapsing under their own weight, warming, brightening, igniting. Then you pass regions where stars have ended, where what remains is a soft shell, expanding outward, cooling, becoming part of the background again. Birth, release, return. The universe does not cling. It allows cycles to complete. If you find yourself holding on to something, an expectation, a worry, a question, this is a good moment to loosen your grip, not to let go completely, just to hold more softly. The universe does not erase its past, it transforms it, and you are allowed to do the same. There is a reason so many people find comfort in looking at old photographs or listening to music from earlier times. It is not nostalgia alone. It is the recognition that time does not destroy meaning. It changes its texture, and in that change, there is room for healing. The light that reaches us from distant stars has been changed by its journey. It is dimmer, softer, less intense than it once was, but it is still beautiful, especially because of the distance it has traveled. Now let your awareness return gently to your body. Notice the weight of yourself against whatever supports you, the steady presence beneath you, the subtle rhythm of your breath. You do not need to adjust anything, just notice. Like light arriving, somewhere in the vastness of space, a star is shining for the last time. Somewhere else, another is just beginning, and between them, light moves patiently, carrying the memory of both. This ongoing exchange does not require your attention. It does not depend on your understanding. It simply continues, offering reassurance through consistency, through scale, through calm. In the next part of our journey, we will begin to explore how this slow memory of the universe mirrors the slow healing of the human heart, how time, when allowed to move gently, can soften even the deepest tensions. But for now, remain here, with the light, with the memory, with the quiet knowledge that nothing important is lost. It only changes form, and in that change, rest becomes possible. There is a point in the night when time feels less like a line and more like a landscape, not something you move through step by step, but something you rest within. If you are still listening, your body already knows this place. The muscles soften without instruction. Thoughts no longer insist on finishing themselves. Moments begin to overlap past and present, brushing gently together like layers of mist on a quiet field. This is the same way the universe experiences time. In the cosmos, time is not a ticking clock. It does not hurry. It does not count. It unfolds, slowly, patiently, almost kindly. Galaxies do not rush toward their futures. Stars do not panic when they begin to fade. Everything moves according to a rhythm so vast that urgency simply has no meaning. And when you begin to sense that rhythm, something inside you often begins to relax. Because so much of human tension comes from the feeling that time is always running out, but the universe has never shared that fear. Imagine time not as a straight road, but as a wide, open spiral. Events are not left behind. They drift outward, still connected, still influencing what comes next. This is how astronomers understand cosmic history. The past is not gone. It is still present, in light, in structure, in motion. And the future is not a demand. It is an invitation, unfolding gradually. There are structures in the universe so vast that they seem almost impossible. filaments of galaxies stretching across space like glowing threads, woven into patterns that resemble a living tapestry. These structures were not built, they emerged. Over immense spans of time, matter followed gravity, the way water follows a slope, gently, inevitably, without force. No blueprint, no deadline, just accumulation. If you have ever watched something grow slowly, a garden, a relationship, a sense of peace, you understand this process. Nothing important appears fully formed. It arrives, layer by layer, moment by moment, often unnoticed until you look back and realize something has changed. The universe changes this way too, quietly, without announcement. Even the most dramatic events in space, when viewed from the right distance, become gentle. A star does not simply vanish. It expands, releases, softens. Its energy spreads outward, becoming part of something larger. Its ending is also a beginning, not in a poetic sense, but in a literal one. The elements released will someday form new stars, new planets, new possibilities. Nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed. This understanding can feel deeply comforting, because it suggests that time is not working against you. It is working with you, even when you feel behind, even when you feel unfinished, even when you feel unsure. The universe is built from unfinished things, always becoming, always rearranging, always allowing room for what comes next. Now, let your mind drift to a memory, not a sharp one, not a heavy one, just something gentle. Perhaps a quiet evening, a long drive, a moment when you felt unobserved, unjudged, allowed to simply exist. Notice how that memory does not sit neatly in the past. It arrives now. It lives here. Time does not lock it away. It brings it forward when you are ready. In space, there are regions where gravity bends time itself, where clocks would tick differently, where duration stretches or compresses depending on perspective. This is not something you need to understand. It is something you can feel, because you already experience it. You know how an anxious hour can feel endless, and how a peaceful one can disappear softly. Time responds to state, and right now, your state is shifting toward rest. As you listen, your internal clock begins to slow, heart rate easing, breath deepening, awareness widening rather than narrowing. This is not sleep yet. This is the doorway, the same doorway the universe passes through constantly. From motion into stillness, from intensity into calm. There is a phrase sometimes shared among astronomers, spoken with humility rather than certainty. The universe is under no obligation to make sense to us on our schedule. Tonight, that idea is not frustrating. It is freeing, because it means you do not need to resolve everything today. You do not need to fix, define, or complete. You are allowed to pause mid-thought, mid-feeling, mid-becoming. The architecture of time is not rigid. It is flexible, forgiving, wide enough to hold uncertainty without collapse. And you are built from the same fabric. Imagine now a vast clock, not mechanical, not precise. A natural clock, one measured in orbits, in seasons, in light traveling across distance. Its hands move so slowly they almost appear still. And yet, they are always moving, always guiding, always carrying everything forward. Your life is moving forward too, even now, even as you rest, even as you release control. Rest is not stagnation, it is alignment. The universe rests constantly, in pauses between events, in spaces between structures, in quiet stretches of time, where nothing obvious happens, but everything integrates. If you find yourself feeling heavier now, that is not fatigue, That is grounding. Your body recognizing safety. Your nervous system recognizing permission. You do not need to stay alert. Nothing important will be missed. The universe does not slip away when you close your eyes. It continues faithfully. In the next part of our journey, we will turn inward more fully, exploring how this cosmic patience reflects the slow, steady process of healing, and how rest itself can be a form of understanding. But for now, remain here, inside the gentle architecture of time, where nothing is late, nothing is early, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There is a quiet truth the night understands instinctively. Healing does not hurry. It does not arrive with announcements or sharp turning points. It does not demand effort in the way daytime tasks do. Healing moves the way stars move, slowly, steadily, often unnoticed, until you look back and realize something inside you has softened. And tonight, as your body rests and your thoughts drift more freely, you are already within that movement. In the universe, nothing heals all at once. When a star exhausts its fuel, it does not disappear abruptly. It expands gently, releasing layers of itself into space. What was once tightly held begins to spread, to cool, to transform. This is not destruction, it is redistribution. The universe takes what was intense and makes it spacious, and that spaciousness becomes the ground for what comes next. Human healing works much the same way. There are moments in life when experiences burn bright, joys that feel overwhelming, losses that feel unbearable, periods so full of emotion that there seems to be no room left inside you. But time, when allowed to move gently, does not erase those experiences. It gives them space, it spreads them out, it cools their sharpest edges, until what once felt impossible to hold becomes part of the quiet background of who you are. If you have ever noticed that a memory which once hurt deeply now feels distant, softer, less charged, that is healing at work, not because the memory is gone, but because it has found its place. The universe does not forget its past, it integrates it. There are regions in space filled with the remains of long-gone stars, fine clouds of dust and gas drifting slowly through darkness. These clouds are not lifeless, they are rich. They carry the ingredients for future stars, future worlds. What once marked an ending becomes the material for beginnings. And nothing rushes this process. It unfolds across millions of years, with patience, with trust. Now, let this image settle into your awareness. Imagine a soft, luminous cloud moving through space, not fast, not slow, just steady. Inside it are elements forged long ago, now resting, waiting, becoming something else. This cloud does not know what it will become. It does not need to. Its only task is to drift. Your own healing may feel like this right now. Not a clear path, not a defined goal, just a sense of movement without direction. That is enough. You do not need to know where you are going to be healing. You only need to allow the drift. There is a common misunderstanding that healing requires constant attention, that you must analyze, process, revisit, resolve. But the universe teaches a gentler lesson. Most healing happens in the background, while you sleep, while you breathe, while you rest your awareness instead of pushing it forward. Stars heal their disruptions by returning to equilibrium. Galaxies heal their disturbances by redistributing motion. The universe heals through balance. Notice your breath again, not to change it, just to observe. The inhale arrives. The exhale follows. No instruction required. Your body already knows how to regulate itself. Your mind, given enough safety, knows how to do the same. There is something deeply comforting about realizing that healing does not depend on effort alone. It depends on environment, on permission, on space. Tonight, the environment is gentle, the permission is present, and the space, both around you and within you, is wide enough. In astronomy, there is a concept known as relaxation, a process where systems naturally move toward stability. After being disturbed, nothing forces this process. It happens because stability is favored, because balance is easier than tension. The universe does not cling to disruption, it releases it. Your nervous system works the same way. Given enough quiet, given enough darkness, given enough safety, it begins to relax on its own. Muscles soften, thoughts slow, emotions settle into gentler forms, not because you commanded them to, but because they were finally allowed to. If there is something you have been holding tightly, a regret, a fear, an unanswered question, you might imagine placing it gently into the vastness of space, not to discard it, just to give it room. Let it float. Let it be held by something larger than your thoughts. The universe has carried heavier things. It can carry this too. Somewhere far away, a galaxy is slowly reshaping itself after a quiet collision. Not a violent crash, just a slow interaction. Two spirals passing close enough to influence each other. Over time, their shapes adjust. Their paths curve. Stars redistribute. Nothing breaks. Everything adapts. This is cosmic healing. Change without urgency. Transformation without panic. You are allowed to change this way, gradually, without explanation, without announcing progress. You do not need to justify your pace. The universe never justifies its own. As your awareness continues to soften, you may notice moments of drifting, where the story fades slightly, where images blur, where thoughts lose their edges. This is not losing focus. This is entering rest. The mind loosens its grip, the way hands loosen when they trust the surface beneath them. Healing does not require vigilance. It requires trust, and trust grows best in quiet, in darkness, in spaces where nothing is demanded. In the next part of our journey, we will explore the idea of connection, how even in vastness, nothing truly exists alone, and how this gentle interweaving can bring a deep sense of belonging. But for now, remain here, where healing moves at the speed of stars, where nothing is forced, where rest itself is enough, and where your only task is to continue drifting into the safety of the night. There is a comforting secret hidden in the vastness of space. Despite appearances, nothing is truly alone. Even in the widest emptiness, even in the deepest dark, there are threads, subtle, patient connections that bind everything together. They are not visible in the way stars are visible. They do not announce themselves. They simply exist. And tonight, as you rest, those same quiet threads are holding you too. From a distance, the universe can seem scattered, points of light separated by unimaginable gaps, islands of matter floating in a sea of black. But when astronomers step back, when they look not at individual stars, but at the larger picture, a different pattern emerges. A web, a gentle, sprawling structure where galaxies gather along vast filaments, connected by gravity and history, shaped by forces that act slowly but persistently. This structure is sometimes called the cosmic web. But you don't need the name. You only need the feeling that separation is not the same as isolation. Imagine standing in a dark field at night. You cannot see the air. You cannot touch it. And yet, it surrounds you completely. It carries sound. It carries scent. it carries warmth. Connection in the universe works much the same way. Invisible, essential, always present. Light itself is a connector. When a star shines, it reaches outward. When you look at that star, something ancient touches something present. A bridge forms, not metaphorically, literally, across time, across distance, across silence, and in that moment, the universe becomes a shared experience. Human beings crave this sense of connection, not just socially, but existentially. We want to feel that we belong to something larger than our own thoughts, that our lives are not isolated incidents, but part of a wider unfolding. The night sky offers this reassurance without words. It does not promise answers. It promises relationship. As you lie here listening, your body is participating in this web. The atoms within you were forged in stars long gone. The breath you take is shaped by cycles that began long before you were born. The gravity holding you gently against the surface of the earth is the same force shaping galaxies far away. You are not an observer separate from the universe. You are an expression of it. This understanding does not need to feel grand. It can feel quiet, like belonging to a place you have always known, even if you've never visited it consciously. Like realizing the night has been listening to you too. In space, even objects that appear solitary are influenced by others. A star's motion is shaped by neighboring stars. A galaxy's form is shaped by its environment. Nothing exists in perfect independence. And this is not a weakness, it is stability. If you have ever felt comforted simply by knowing someone else was nearby, even without speaking, you understand this principle. Connection does not require constant interaction. Presence alone is enough. The universe practices this kind of presence constantly. Now imagine the cosmic web not as something distant, but as something gentle and close. Threads of gravity and light stretching softly, holding stars in place the way a hammock holds a resting body. Nothing is tight, nothing is strained, everything is supported. Your own life is held in similar ways, by routines, by relationships, by memories, by the quiet continuity of days passing into nights and back again. Even when you feel disconnected, these threads remain. They do not vanish when unnoticed. They wait. There is a profound calm in realizing that you do not have to create connection. You only have to notice it. It already exists. Just as the universe did not need to invent gravity for things to come together, it simply allowed it to act. As you listen, you may feel a subtle sense of belonging growing. Not excitement, not intensity, just a quiet reassurance, a sense that you are not adrift, that something steady underlies everything. This feeling often deepens as sleep approaches, because sleep itself is an act of trust. You let go of vigilance. You allow consciousness to loosen. You trust that the world will continue without your supervision. The universe has been doing this for billions of years. It knows how to hold things. Somewhere far away, two galaxies are slowly drawing closer, not to collide dramatically, but to influence each other's paths. Over time, their shapes will change. Stars will shift. New patterns will emerge. And throughout it all, the connection between them remains gentle, inevitable, calm. You are allowed to relate to your own life this way, not as a series of isolated moments, but as a connected flow, where each experience influences the next, where nothing is wasted, where even quiet nights like this one are part of something larger. If a sense of loneliness ever visits you, remember this. Loneliness is a feeling, not a fact. The universe itself is proof of connection. You are woven into it. whether you feel it or not. As your awareness continues to soften, let this sense of connection remain in the background. You do not need to focus on it. It will hold you without effort, like gravity, like night, like breath. In the next part of our journey, we will begin to gently return, bringing with us this calm, this sense of belonging, and allowing it to settle into the final quiet of sleep. But for now, remain here, held by invisible threads, surrounded by quiet presence, connected even in stillness. There comes a moment in every gentle journey when movement begins to slow on its own, not because it is told to stop, but because it has arrived where it needs to be. If you are still listening, you may already sense this change. The story no longer feels like something you are following. It feels like something you are floating within, like water carrying you without effort. In the universe, motion rarely ends abruptly. Even when stars burn out, even when galaxies complete their slow dances, nothing stops all at once. Everything eases, momentum softens, energy redistributes until stillness feels natural. This is how the night carries you toward sleep, not with a command, with a gradual return. Imagine a long journey across a dark, calm sea. Not a voyage of urgency, but a slow crossing under starlight. The vessel does not cut sharply through the water. It glides. Each small wave lifts and lowers it gently until the motion itself becomes a kind of lullaby. Ahead, barely visible, there is a shoreline, not bright, not dramatic, just present, a quiet edge where water meets land. This is where we are heading now, not toward an ending, but toward rest. As the universe expands, it does so without hurry. Galaxies drift farther apart, space opens wider, and everything grows calmer over time. This expansion is not loss, it is release, tension easing outward, density giving way to spaciousness. And in this widening, there is peace. Your own body mirrors this process as you relax. Muscles release their hold, breath lengthens, thoughts expand and then thin until they no longer cluster tightly. Awareness becomes broad and soft. Nothing presses, nothing demands. If you notice moments where the story slips away from you, where a sentence fades before it finishes, where images dissolve into feeling that is not something to resist, that is the sign of arrival. The mind, like the universe, knows when it is time to open into quiet. There is a reason so many cultures have associated sleep with water, with rivers, with tides, with drifting. Water does not argue with gravity. It flows. It finds rest naturally. Tonight, you are invited to do the same. Imagine now that the cosmic journey we have been taking, through light, through time, through connection, is gently turning back inward, not retreating, integrating, like bringing warmth back into the body after standing under a wide sky. All that vastness does not disappear, it settles. It becomes part of your internal landscape. The universe does not end its days. It folds them, layer upon layer, memory upon memory, and as night deepens, your own experiences are doing the same. Everything you encountered today, the small stresses, the fleeting moments, the unnoticed kindnesses, are being folded gently away, not forgotten, just set aside. If there is still a part of you that feels alert, watching, listening closely, you can let it rest too. Nothing more is required. The story is no longer moving forward. It is dissolving softly into background, like stars fading as dawn approaches. Not gone, just unseen for a while. In space, there are places where motion becomes so subtle that change is only noticeable across vast spans of time. These regions are not stagnant, they are serene. The universe trusts them. And right now, your body is entering a similar state, a place where healing continues without awareness, where regulation happens quietly, where rest becomes deep. You may notice a feeling of heaviness, or lightness, or a gentle sinking sensation. These are all signs of safety. The nervous system standing down, the need to monitor fading, sleep preparing its quiet entrance. Imagine now that the shoreline is close, the water beneath you slows, the rocking becomes minimal, the vessel comes to rest without impact. No jolt, no signal, just stillness. This stillness is not empty. It is full of everything you have just experienced. Light, time, connection, healing. They remain with you, not as thoughts, but as tone, as atmosphere, as calm. In the final moments of our journey, there is nothing left to explain, nothing left to explore, only rest. And rest does not need words. In the next and final part, we will let the story fade completely, offering a last, gentle reflection, and then stepping aside, so sleep can finish what the night has begun. For now, remain here, on the quiet shore, where movement has slowed, where the universe no longer speaks in images, but in silence, and where you are already being carried the rest of the way. Now, there is almost nothing left to do. The story has loosened its shape, the images have softened, the universe, vast and patient, has stepped back into stillness, and you are here, right where rest begins. Imagine the night sky, one last time, not as something distant or overwhelming, but as a quiet presence above you. The stars are there, as they always are, some bright, some faint, some already gone, their light still traveling, still arriving. They are not watching you, they are simply with you, and that is enough. The ancient light that fills the universe continues its slow journey, moving without effort, without urgency, without expectation. It does not ask where it will land. It does not hurry to arrive. It simply moves, because movement is gentle, and because continuation is natural. Tonight, you are allowed to move this way too. Your breath now may feel deeper, or slower, or barely noticeable at all. There is no need to check. The body knows how to cross this threshold. Sleep is not something you create, it is something you allow. If there are still thoughts drifting through your mind, let them pass like clouds across a dark sky. Do not follow them, do not push them away. Just notice how they dissolve on their own. When given enough space, the universe does this constantly. It allows things to pass. And in that allowing, balance returns. Somewhere far away, a star completes its long life quietly. Somewhere else, another begins to glow for the first time. And between them, time stretches wide enough to hold everything without strain. You are held in that same time. Nothing presses, nothing waits, nothing is late. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below when you're ready. And if you feel called to leave a gentle comment for yourself, a small note of calm or gratitude, you are welcome to do that too. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. As the final words fade, there is no ending to hold onto, only the quiet continuation of the night. The universe does not close its eyes, but you can, and when you do, nothing important is missed. Everything continues, exactly as it should. Thank you for spending this quiet time with Why Is That Sleep Story. If this journey brought you calm, don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. And now, let the story dissolve completely. Let the night finish its work. Sleep deeply. Rest gently. You are safe beneath the ancient light.